channel, and today we're going to be doing um, a Q&A, question and answers, and our questions on breastfeeding. The 11 questions. I wrote them down, so I'm going to be looking down a lot, but it's because I need to read the questions. Thank you for the subscriptions, thank you for the comments, thank you for the views, thank you for all the support. And as I said, more greater content to come, all in the name of motherhood, bringing up the best babies we can, and taking the best care of ourselves as mothers. So, the myth is that breastfeeding is very painful, so people try to avoid it as much as they can. But you need to understand, as a first time mother, it's going to be a different experience, and breastfeeding only gets better through practice. So, practice eventually makes perfect. So, question number one: why does breastfeeding seem to be so challenging? Breastfeeding seems to be so challenging because first, it's a new thing for first timers. It's a new experience, and it's demanding. It makes you, it's an on the clock kind of job, especially for the newborn, because you have to be there constantly, and breast milk is made in such a way that it's digested easily by the baby. So the quicker it's digested, the quicker the baby is hungry, and the quicker the baby is hungry, the more you have to feed the baby. Question number two: why do breastfed babies need to feed so often? I guess our question one and question two are almost close. Breastfed babies need to feed often because, when a baby is breastfed, you never know the amount of breast milk they take. They take exactly what they need, and when they are full, they just stop. Then the milk itself, it's made in a way that it's digested easily by the baby. So it's digested easily. So as soon it's they take enough quantity, and then it's digested easily. So it goes as fast as it comes. So number three, what does breastfeeding feel like? Breastfeeding feels like the first time you actually breastfeed, it feels like a pinch and some pressure to it. But then in time, it actually gets better. The thing is, the nipple is a very sensitive, the breasts are very sensitive, and the nipple is even more sensitive. And how you hold the baby and everything is new, and so it just makes the whole experience interesting. But the pinch is just like the first 2 3 days. Then there's some slight pressure and some little pain, but then it's because it's new and the sensitivity. But in time, you get over the pain, and feeding becomes so easy and so much fun, and it's such a nice time for a mother and child to bond. Question number four: why do my breasts feel really hard, full, and why do my breasts feel hard and full? When your breasts feel hard and full, they're called engorged boobs. They're the engorged, yeah, it's called engorgement. So I think they're engorged, yeah, they are engorged. So they feel hard and full because maybe you're not feeding as often as you can, or maybe you have a lot of breast milk. So the solution to you should try and not have that. You should try and feed the baby often, so you avoid that feeling of engorgement. Because the more you feel engorged, when you feel engorged, the nipple flattens, and when the nipple flattens, it's harder for the baby to breastfeed. And if you keep that feeling of engorgement, like if you don't feed the baby, and when the baby feeds, the breast should feel light. It should feel spongy and light, not heavy and hard. So when they're engorged for a long period of time, it could actually even result in breast infections, and that's not good. So try to feed your baby as often as possible to avoid that feeling of engorgement and that feeling of having very hard and full breasts. How do I treat pain from engorgement? The pain from engorgement, like now your breasts feel very full and they're engorged. You can hand express, try and get the pressure off the breast. At the same time, you can put a cold piece of cloth and massage the breast, or something warm, whatever works. You can do the cold pack or the warm pack. Just try to get the milk out of the system. You can also pump, and if you have a hungry baby, you can feed the baby. That will get the engorgement out. So can't I just avoid the pain if I don't breastfeed? So Whether you breastfeed or not, during pregnancy, your body has been preparing for a baby. So once the baby is born, the body produces a lot of milk, just in case you're not getting one baby, just in case you're getting like doubles or triples, like you're getting twins or triplets. So the body doesn't know how many babies have come, so it's going to produce a lot of milk. And then now when the baby feeds, the body is going to adjust to producing enough for the baby. So if you choose to breastfeed or you choose not to breastfeed, you cannot avoid the pain, because now if you don't breastfeed, you're going to have engorged breasts, and engorged breasts are going to result into blocked what do you call these things again? You're going to have blocked ducts, and blocked ducts could result in breast infections. So you see, like how for me, when I had my first baby, I lost height one day, but my body did not get milk until the third day. So the body was preparing for a baby, and clearly now there's no baby. So there's breast milk, and there's no one to breastfeed the milk to. So they had to give me some medication, but at the same time, the milk was there and it was a lot, and you had to do a lot of expressing the milk. So, genuinely, point is, there's no way of escaping breastfeeding. A baby comes and it has to be fed, and it's just that you have to feed the baby. So, question number 7: should I stop breastfeeding if I have cracked, sore, or bleeding nipples? If you have cracked, sore, or bleeding nipples, it's basically because of how you're latching. There are two types of latches. There's a good latch where your nipple and areola are in the mouth of the baby. That's how it should be. It should be that the baby is not just sucking the nipple, but the whole areola, like most of it, should be in the mouth of the baby in such a way that when you look down, you cannot see. The areola is the dark part of your nipple, like the dark part of your breast. Most of that should be in the mouth of the baby, and that's a proper latch, and it's even easier for the baby to breastfeed. If you're having cracked nipples and they're sore and they're bleeding, it's mainly because the baby is not latching well, and that's what is resulting in that situation. So what you do in such a situation, if you're having cracked, sore, or bleeding nipples, just talk to your doctor or your nurse or your lactation consultant, and to ask them to help you to latch the baby well. If you get a good latch on breastfeeding, these things won't happen. And at the same time, if that has already happened, give it some 2-3 days with a proper latch and a good consultation. It will end in a few days. So question number 8: what if I have what if I have large or flat nipples? Okay, there are people who have large or flat nipples, and then the worry is that breastfeeding is going to be quite an issue. But you have, in hospitals, you have the lactation consultants and the midwives and the nurses and the doctors. They'll guide you. There's actually a small machine that can usually placed on the nipple for those with a flat nipple. In the inverted nipple, it usually suctions the nipple out and then makes the whole breastfeeding much easier. But most of the time, when you have a flat nipple, it's also about latching. It's how the baby is latching, because if the baby is latching well, the nipple will maintain either a long and round position, but not a flat and large position. Do you see? So mainly these questions about cracked nipples, about nipples, mainly it's usually about the latching. If the baby latches well, you don't get most of these issues. So will I lick? That's question number 9. I think this is mainly from someone who's pregnant. So yes, you will lick. You might lick, you might not lick. Some people lick when they're pregnant. Some people will lick when they get the baby, and some people never lick. It's just that they have enough milk. Like, I don't know, you lick when you think about the baby, when you just, it's time for the baby to feed, there's so many things that just make you lick. But then that's why you get the nursing pads. When you have the nursing pads, maybe you're going somewhere, you can use the nursing pads. So when you're licking and maybe the baby's asleep, it's already fed, maybe you're not even with the baby, the nursing pads will come in handy in handling the leakage. So also remember, when you're using nursing pads, change them as often as possible, because nursing pads can easily give you an infection. See, be careful. Question number 10. Do I need to prepare my breasts or nipples in a special way before breastfeeding? Not quite, because one, you need to know that the nipples are sensitive, and all you need to actually use to clean the nipples and the breast area is just some clean water, and then you can blot or air dry, whatever you find easy. Then you also need to know that scientifically, the the breasts have some special glands that keep them flexible and moist, and these also the breast also produce a particular scent that usually helps the baby to identify their location. Babies could be sleeping, but they'll still breastfeed, like, without even any hassle. They'll just feed kawaida too, no issues. And then, most of the time when you're breastfeeding and then you usually use like lotions and perfumes and all that, you find they usually there's some irritation, because this is now the breasts are being used for some reason, and they've become super sensitive. Normally they're sensitive, but now they're super sensitive. So you'll notice that you'll get some irritation, or maybe you feel some form of itchiness. And then you don't, why would you want to use perfume stuff on a place that the baby is going to be like there later, or you're going to pump milk from there? I don't think you want your baby to consume the chemicals in the lotions and the deodorants and all these things. So just clean with clean water, and then air dry or blot, whatever you prefer, and that's good enough. Question number 11. This is a bonus question. How do I know if the pain I'm experiencing in my breast is not normal? The pain in the breast, when you're having engorged breasts, pain in the breast is usually just mainly because of a poor latch. So the latch is going to make your life miserable, because you're going to dread breastfeeding, and it's also going to make the life of the baby miserable, because you feeling pain, you don't want to breastfeed, and the baby will also, like, he won't feed well, because you're like skitching and all this. So you also might have end up getting blocked ducts. That's going to result in some infection, myositis, and some other bad things. So the thing is, to avoid all these issues with your breast and breastfeeding, and the pain and the fear and the myth about all this pain, it's one simple thing. It all boils down to one simple thing: latching. Latch the baby well. Have a good latch, and when you have a good latch, everything becomes much, much easier. It's comfortable for you, and it's comfortable for the baby. Breastfeeding becomes a very nice experience where you and your baby bond. At the same time, breastfeeding make sure the baby gets enough and the baby grows well. Till next time, this is Elysian. Have a good evening. It's not like the end, like you have to feed the baby in that way. So what you do is, if the baby has already started breastfeeding, you can always break the suction, and you do that by placing a clean finger into the corner of the baby, and then the baby will unlatch. So after you do that, what do? You can take a break, because maybe you're feeling pain, and maybe you're feeling frustrated that you're not doing this right. Take a break with the baby, hold the baby in an upright position, and then place the baby on your chest, skin to skin, that's what they call it, and just bond with the baby, sing to the baby, talk to the baby. Then when you feel comfortable and you want to try again, go ahead and try again. And slowly by slowly, it doesn't come overnight. No, it doesn't come. Even I had cracked nipples because I had an issue with latching, but slowly I learned how to do it well. It's practice, so you'll get it right in time. And there's a little sacrifice, yeah, the pain that comes initially, but it goes away when you learn how to latch well. And what else can a mother do in this world but give the baby the best that she can? So till next time, this is Elysian, aka Kangi. Have a lovely day, and till next time, bye.